Another market failure that may happen in the economy is due to the free rider problem. Free rider happens when some individuals in the population either consume more than their fair share of a common resource or pay less than their fair share for the cost of a common resource. It's a situation where some people pay for something and other people may not pay for it but still enjoy it. So examples of this could be the typical old example is free riding a train, hopping in behind the train and enjoying the ride without paying for your ride. Or if you do the same thing with a metro these days, it'd be similar as well. Harder in Montreal, but easy in Calgary because it's based on the trust system. Stealing internet. If you're living close to a neighbor who pays for internet and does not have a locked Wi-Fi account, well, you might simply just log in. It's you're not paying your share. He probably doesn't know about it. Hopefully his bills don't get bigger, but his service might be slower because you're using the internet as well as they are. So these are your common examples of free rider problem, but you could also think about cleaning a common apartment. It would be one as well. You'll always have the same people cleaning, and I'll discuss why in a second, why it may not vary so much. And the same thing that would happen as not working as hard in the group for a group assignment. And it becomes worse the bigger the groups often. Okay. Why is the free rider problem possible in those examples? Well, the big problem here is that someone cares more or gets a higher marginal benefit. If we think of that example of working in a group and having some people slack off more, as long as you know that someone in the group really cares about this project and wants a good grade, you know that even if you start slacking off, this other person's going to pick up the slack. So therefore, you might as well just sit back and relax and let the other person do more work, and you'll end up with the grade that you're satisfied with. Similarly, and all the other examples as well, is that situation that someone cares more about what the others, about this product than other people, and sometimes they don't care about what the other people end up doing. So if we have a two-person example that have this little area that's a little piece of land that has a common entrance, and they're thinking about hiring a security guard to patrol the area. Well, we might have a situation where we have Tom and Jim, the two neighbors, and their willingness to pay is not the same for both. One has a willingness to pay of $125 per security guard, the other one has $75, and each security costs $100. So we could think, well, maybe at this rate, they're either going to split the costs and hire one, or actually because their total willingness to pay is $200, they might hire more. Normally this willingness to pay would fall with more security guards, so this is per security guard, but you could expect that the willingness to pay for the second one is lower, and so on and so forth. But they probably want to hire at least one, maybe two. But in this situation here, what would likely happen is that there's only going to be one security guard hired, and Jim will pretend that he does not care about having a security guard. He could tell Tom, like, I'm in a situation that I feel pretty comfortable here. I don't feel the threat of danger. I'm not willing to pay anything for a security guard. So he pretends that he has no benefits, so Tom ends up paying for the security guard himself, and Jim derives a net benefit of $75 from this. This will often happen. You'll often have two individuals that are discussing, should we hire this or should we get this? And then you'll have some people pretending that they don't really care when in fact they might. So other examples I could think of that happened in the recent past is if you go backcountry skiing and you're wondering whether you should buy or rent a satellite phone just in case there's something that happens, someone breaks a leg and the backcountry. Well, obviously, everyone likes to have this advantage of having this resource to get ourselves out of trouble. But there's always going to be someone who cares more. And in our case was someone who blew his lung the year beforehand, so he was willing to pay more, so he went and rented this satellite phone. If we wanted to, we could have been those kind of guys like Jim in this example here to say, well, I don't really care. We've never had a satellite phone in the past. I'm not willing to pay anything. Cool if you rent one, but I'm not really interested. And he would have paid for it on its own, because you can't really force other people to pay with you. But in our case, we were all really nice. I'm quite aware of the free rider example, so I paid my fair share, and that's how it happened. But in many cases, a story like this, you would have only one guy paying or a couple people paying for the service and everyone enjoying it. Yeah. So because of the free ride problem, sometimes private markets will not provide the right amount of goods. So we'll have to deal with what we're going to see next as public goods. And in such situations, those public goods must be provided by the government, because the government's aware that people derive a benefit from this, but if they only act on by themselves, you might have this situation where nothing happens. So if we think of an army or something else, well, no one would have the money to be able to protect the country or the province as a whole, or even their whole area from any foreign threat. So we'll see that armies are often public goods.